What's up everybody, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some insane battles I was able to put together in the Ultra League Premier Cup. Today I'm running not one, not two, but three perfect 100% IV Shadow Pokemon. First up we've got my best buddy, level 51 Shadow Girafarig, only maxing out at 2361 CP, but don't let that fool you, this thing puts in so much work. Next up, we've got my perfect Legacy Shadow Hypno, running its legacy move of Psyshock and the Hail Mary of Focus Blast. Rounding the team off, we've got Kanto Weezing. This team was insanely expensive to put together, costing me over 2 million dust. And with that being said, let's get into today's question of the day. What level 50 Pokemon would you like to see me build for the Ultra League? Post your answers in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. So heading into the first battle, we lead Shadow Girafarig into Swampert. Girafarig, very glassy, despite being level 51. This is going to be a win for us in the Zero Shield. The opponent only builds up to 7. We can tank one Hydro Cannon, and do they know? We throw one Double Kick and the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will be one-shotting. As Jamie Finn would say, get that Swampert out of here. The opponent sends out Skeledirge. I did throw at suboptimal timing, and that is because the next Incinerate will knock out, so we just want to get the damage off and also lower the opponent's defense. Of course, Hypno doesn't fancy tanking a Shadow Ball, so we're going to send out Kanto Weezing and use it as the damage sponge. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball. We then switch out into Hypno, these confusions really chunking as the opponent still has a lowered defense. They're yet to reset their debuff. We're going to respect the potential Shadow Ball. The opponent bait with the disarming voice. However, they're not going to reach another move. The opponent then sends in Venusaur, and Hypno is in a very good position to sweep this endgame. We fire off the Psyshock. Psyshock forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Hypno fires off Psyshock number 2, and the opponent is now all shields down. I still have one Protect Shield, and I've realised the win con is going to be with Weezing, so we allow Hypno to go down. Come back in with Weezing. Despite us being very low in health, these Vine Whips are resisted due to our Mono Poison typing. I can shield up the Frenzy Plant. Return fire with the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will be taking care of Venusaur, and we're going to resist it, tackle farm down Skeledirge and take that game. So GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we lead Shadow Girafarig into Venusaur. Psychic Fang will be hitting for super effective. We've got 2 better responses in the back. So we farm up 4 double kicks, catch the Frenzy Plant onto Weezing, where it is going to be resisted. The opponent answers my Weezing Safe Switch with Nidoqueen. This isn't too bad a matchup for us. They do have to go all the way for an Earth Power. To secure the knockout, we're going to full send the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball lands for some very solid damage, putting them into the red. I'm going to no-shield this move. The opponent does need to Earth Power to take me out, and that's exactly what the opponent does. So we're going to wait out our timer. We're going to send in Hypno. We have 2 confusions, a very nice running start and energy, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. The opponent sends out Jellicent. This is a matchup where having Thunder Punch would be nice, but Legacy Psyshock still force a Protect Shield. We then send out the Girafarig and go straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will be hitting for super effective and gets this Jellicent below half health. The opponent is going to be forced to go for the weaker move of Surf due to Ghost being single resisted. However, that Surf still does a lot of damage. The opponent then sends out Venusaur. We fire off the Psychic Fangs, which gets Venusaur into the red. The opponent does get the full Vine Whip farm down, but can easily shield this move up. The opponent still has 1 Protect Shield. So we're just going to commit to the fast moves now. The opponent is going to need to reach a Shadow Ball to take us out. The opponent does me a favour, throwing on alignment, giving us a full free confusion. We shield up the Surf. Can the opponent reach the Shadow Ball? The opponent reached the last second move. Is this the Shadow Ball? No, it's not. We're able to tank the Surf, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle. We lead our Shadow Girafarig into Galarian Weezing, a pretty neutral matchup. They can hit us for super effective with the Brutal Swing, and likewise we can hit them for super effective with the Psychic Fang. The opponent safe switches into Skeledirge, and we don't have any great response, so I'm happy to stay in here. We fire off the first Psychic Fang, which the opponent doesn't shield. We fire off the second one, and again the opponent doesn't shield. There's no point in shielding this move up, as the opponent will be able to Incinerate, farm me down afterwards. So we're just going to keep our 2 shields, and I'm going to send in Hypno and commit to the Confusion farm down. Once again, we will respect the Shadow Ball, and this time the opponent full sends it, as they are going to only reach 1 move. The opponent now forced to send out their third, which is for Alligator, of course. The Shadow Claws are hitting for super effective. We throw the Psyshock, and the opponent actually doesn't shield. Again, the opponent throws an alignment. We will survive this Hydro Cannon. The opponent looks for the Shadow Claw farm down. We're able to reach 1 further Psyshock, and this should be forcing a shield from the opponent. We then switch out into Weezing, not allowing the opponent any free farm, and then we see the Weezing Mirror. I go straight for the neutral Sludge Bomb. This hits for neutral due to Fairy taking super effective from poison and poison resisting itself. The opponent fires off the Brutal Swing. We easily survive 1. We've still got one Protect Shield, and I'm actually going to save that for the harder hitting Hydro Cannon. The opponent also has one Protect Shield, so we tackle farm down the Weezing. Back out comes the Feraligatr. We're going to shield up this Hydro Cannon, and we need to be very careful. The opponent's almost at the next Hydro Cannon. We switch into Hypno, catching the Hydro Cannon, and we should be able to tackle farm down Feraligatr, and I'm able to take that game. Very close battle, so GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead Shadow Girafarig into Magnezone. A very good lead for us, as these double kicks do hit for super effective, and Shadow Magnezone is very, very glassy. I throw 5 double kicks, and the Psychic Fang, only giving away 1 free turn, and force myself early shield advantage. We are going to respect a potential wild charge. The opponent bait with the Mirror Shot, but again, I throw 1 double kick and the next Psychic Fang. Despite this being resisted, it does secure the knockout, and we're able to win the lead matchup. The opponent then sends out a Feraligatr, build up to the Trailblaze, bait with the Psychic Fang. This is probably the only battle where I bait and the opponent actually call it, but it's kind of whatever at this point. Of course, Psychic Fang does lower the opponent's defense, so these tackles are now doing a lot of damage. We are going to be able to survive 1 Hydro Cannon, but it lands for a lot of neutral damage. The opponent then sends out Dragonite. I build up just before a Sludge Bomb and send out Hypno. Hypno is relatively bulky, however I'm going to shield up the first Dragon Claw. We're then going to return fire with the Psychic Fang. This should force the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent is going to reach a last second Dragon Claw. However, is this enough to knock out Hypno? Hypno is able to survive the damage. We do get the full Confusion farm down. Back out comes Feraligatr. The opponent is able to Shadow Claw farm down, and unfortunately I die at the Sludge Bomb. Very close game there. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see a fairly decent lead, although we do have to be mindful of the opponent potentially having X-Scissor. The opponent switches out into Drapion. We fire off the Psychic Fang, which is going to be resisted, but does lower the opponent's defense. Again, Drapion is a problem for this team. Drapion is going to fully wall Weezing's charge moves, and it's also going to hit both our Girafarig and Hypno for super effective with the crunches. We fire off 1 further Psychic Fang, and then we switch out into Weezing, and I am going to look to commit to the full tackle farm down. The opponent fire off the crunch. Luckily, we don't see a debuff, and we do get the full tackle farm down. The opponent then sends back out the Gliscopod, and we're going to fire off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb goes unshielded and gets this thing down into around a 3rd health. Liquidation or Aerial Ace should take us out from this range. The opponent does have Aerial Ace, and that's good information to know, as our Psychic types don't have to be worried about a potential X-Scissor. The opponent then pivots out into Glade. I fire off the Psychic Fangs, but unfortunately lose CMP. We are going to shield the Leaf Blade. Shadow Glade is very, very glassy. This Psychic Fang actually forces the opponent's shield. We're then going to throw 2 double kicks, look to catch the Leaf Blade onto Hypno. Unfortunately, the opponent doesn't throw, but they're going to be forced to go for Leaf Blades anyway. Of course, close combat will be resisted. The opponent then throws on Alignment, which definitely gives me a wink on. We're now going to be able to Confusion farm this Glade all the way down. We're going to leave at very low health and leave with the Psyshock, which we're going to throw out the returning Gliscopod immediately. Of course, Psyshock forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We've seen they don't have X-Scissor. Are we bulky enough to survive a liquidation? Yes, we are. We reach the Psychic Fang, and that is going to be enough to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Heading into the next battle, we lead our Shadow Girafarig into Galvantula. Of course, we're ABA weak to Bug. We're going to throw 4 double kicks again, look to catch the lunge onto Weezing where it will be resisted. Although this is a nice catch, this Galvantula is still going to be very much a problem in the endgame. The opponent then send out Goodra. We're going to go straight for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will land for some very heavy neutral damage. The opponent don't respect it, and we get him to around half health. The opponent does get a massive Dragon Breath farm down. I do have the Psychic Fang banked. I'm going to wait out my clock. We're going to send in Girafarig. I actually take the extra. So we're going to shield this move up. The opponent throw the Aqua Tail. The opponent's already at another Aqua Tail, although we should survive 1. But we're very, very glassy. Again, I throw 1 double kick and the Psychic Fang, maximising my energy. I really hope Psychic Fang is enough to knock out, and we do manage to secure the knockout. If the opponent sends back out of Galvantula, again, I'm going to look to throw 1 double kick and the Psychic Fang. If we survive that Volt Switch, we should be able to get off another Psychic Fang. We throw 1 more double kick and the next Psychic Fang. The opponent shielded the first one, and this second one's going to do even more damage. The opponent actually double shields Galvantula, and we switch out into Hypno. This lunge will be hitting for super effective. As we don't know what's in the back, we are going to tank the move. The opponent's got Jellicent. There's no win con from here, so I'm just going to concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. In the next battle, we see another Venusaur in the lead. We know Psychic Fang does do a lot of damage. We're going to throw 3 double kicks and the Psychic Fang immediately, which is good timing. You always want to throw an odd numbers 3 turn into 2 turn. We then pivot out into Weezing. The opponent banks a boatload of energy and then send out Greninja. It's very nice to bait the Greninja out here. So Hypno doesn't have to face it later, as Hypno will get destroyed by Greninja. We tank the Hydro Cannon, fire off the Sludge Bomb, which forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. The opponent isn't going to be able to Water Shriek and farm down, so they're forced to dump their energy. We're just going to let Weezing go down. I'm going to come back in with a Giraffe Rig. These double kicks hit him for a lot of damage. Unfortunately, we lose CMP. The opponent fires off the Night Slash. This Psychic Fang will be double resisted. It won't knock out, but will put him into double kick farm down range. The opponent actually opt to invest that Protect Shield. I'm actually going to burn my final Protect Shield here. And the reason for that is if they send back out Venusaur, which they do, despite Giraffe Rig being 2,361 CP, we're able to win CMP. Venusaur goes down with a whole heap of energy. We pivot out immediately into Hypno, and the opponent has a Fire Spin Charizard in the back. Hypno able to survive a Blast Burn. We're left very low, so I throw one Confusion and the Psyshock. I don't think Psyshock will quite be lethal. Unfortunately, the opponent is going to Fire Spin farm all the way down. The opponent now has a Dragon Claw. Can the Giraffe Rig survive a Dragon Claw? Yes, we can. We're able to double kick farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. In the next battle, we see Giraffe Rig into Tentacruel. We've got two better responses in the back, so I pivot out into my Kanto Weezing. The opponent is going to fire off a Scald, which we will survive. Luckily for me, we don't see a debuff, and we draw out Mandibuzz. Again, very nice to bait this out here, so Hypno isn't going to have to face it in the endgame. We fire off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb doesn't do too much damage as Mandibuzz is very thick. I'm actually going to shield up this charge move, as I know I will outpace to the next Sludge Bomb. I just want to get this Mandibuzz a little bit lower so it's more manageable. Sludge Bomb forces the Protect Shield. There's no point in shielding this move up, as I will get outpaced to the next Aerial Ace. This is now a very tricky position, as these double kicks do hit the neutral, but the Psychic Fang will be double resisted, and the Trailblaze will also be single resisted. However, I'm going to throw the Trailblaze. It will vamp up my attack. You can see Trailblaze doesn't do a lot of damage, and the opponent even Snarl farm me down. And this is already looking like GG's. We are going to play it out. I really hope the opponent baits with the Aerial Ace for no reason whatsoever. The opponent throw the Dark Pulse, and that does a lot of damage. I'm now forced to throw this move up, and of course this one is the Aerial Ace. These Confusions are double resisted. I attempted double resisted Confusion farm down, but Mandibuzz again reached the last second charge move. We finally managed Confusion farm down, so we're just going to throw the Focus Blast BM. For no reason whatsoever, we get pretty destroyed, but GG's to that opponent regardless. So heading into the next battle, we'll lead Shadow Giraffe Rig into Swampert. Do they know about the Trailblaze? We're not going to bait on this channel. We're going to go straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will be one-shotting the opponent if they don't choose to shield. Swampert gets one shot, the opponent then sends in Wall Rain, and Giraffe Rig looking very good into this opponent's team. We throw the Psychic Fang with the double kicks gets this Wall Rain below half health, and I'm actually going to burn a Protect Shield here. The opponent throw the Icicle Sphere, and then they're going to concede the match. So GG's to that opponent there. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Giraffe Rig into Ampharos. Ampharos is a pretty neutral matchup. We're actually going to look to take the extra, anticipating the opponent throwing on alignment, which they do. We're going to shield up the Brutal Swing. We're going to throw one double kick and the Psychic Fang. Psychic Fang won't do too much damage, but will be lowering the opponent's defense. We're able to outpace to the next Psychic Fang, and this one should be forcing a Protect Shield, which it does. We then look to catch the Brutal Swing onto Weezing. Weezing is our only member of the team that doesn't take super effective from Dark. The opponent answers my Weezing Save Switch with Poliwrath. These counters are resisted, and the opponent doesn't even build up to the Scald. I know I survive an Icy Wind, then only going to reach one move, so I go for the harder hit in Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball won't do too much damage after the debuff, but does get Poliwrath down to around a third health. Of course, Giraffe Rig will take neutral from the counters, so I'm actually going to send out Hypno. We're going to no-shield this move up and look to Confusion farm this thing all the way down. The opponent throw the Icy Wind, which doesn't do too much damage, and we now have residual energy good to go. The opponent sends out Ampharos. I throw two Confusions and the Psyshock, which is one Volt Switch before the opponent reaches the Brutal Swing. We manage to secure the knockout, and the opponent sends out Kanto Mach. Of course, both the remaining Pokemon on my team will take super effective from Dark. We shield up the Dark Pulse. I'm then going to send out Giraffe Rig. We're going to throw the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be single resisted. The opponent correctly no shields, and it looks like there's pretty much no win con from here. The opponent fire off the Dark Pulse. The only win con is going to be the opponent no shielding the Focus Blast. Can we sneak it through a Protect Shield? Unfortunately, we cannot. The opponent is going to now reach the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is easily going to knock us out from this range, and unfortunately we're going to take a loss. So GG's to that opponent there. On to the next battle. We'll lead Shadow Giraffe Rig into Shadow Victory Bell. I thought I had enough of these toxic teams in the Great League, but they've followed me to Ultra League. We're going to go straight for the Psychic Fang, forcing a Protect Shield, and then we're going to safe switch into Weezing, drawing out Aggron. What is this team? Just about the only positive thing I can say is at least Hypno isn't going to have to face this Steel type. We land the Shadow Ball. The opponent isn't going to commit to the full Smackdown farm down, which is best case scenario for me. The opponent take me out with the Meteor Beam. I'm hoping I can send in the Giraffe Rig. Double kick farm them down before they reach the next charge move. We just about get it. We leave at minimal HP, and I'm just going to fire off the Psychic Fang immediately. The opponent smartly don't send out Victory Bell. They send in for Alligator. They've now got a lower defense. We're going to send out Hypno. Of course, I am going to have to shield up the Hydro Cannon. The opponent likely reset their debuff at some stage, but they actually look to stay in. I throw the Psyshock, but lose CMP. I'm so mad for throwing that charge move. That would have been much better confusion farming them all the way down. The Psyshock does secure the knockout. Back out comes Victory Bell. This Leaf Blade probably won't be lethal, but they are going to be able to Razor Leaf farm down afterwards. We get Razor Leaf farm down, and Giraffe Rig is also going to die to one Razor Leaf. Despite the opponent running a very toxic team, GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle. We lead Giraffe Rig into Lantern. These Great League Pokemon really are following me to the Ultra League. The opponent goes straight for the Surf, which is thrown on alignment. We're going to shield up the Surf. I'm then going to throw one double kick and the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will hit for super effective and actually does some very solid chip damage. I'm then able to outpace to the Psychic Fang, and hopefully this forces a Protect Shield. The opponent actually just sacked the Lantern and we managed to win lead, but we are down a Protect Shield. The opponent now sends in Clefable. They're going to be unable to Fairy Wind farm me all the way down. I'm going to go straight for the hard hitting Trailblaze, which gets Clefable down below half health. We're just going to allow Giraffe Rig to go down, as we've got a very nice answer for Clefable in the form of our Weezing. We send in Weezing. The opponent pivots into Annihilate, and we now have the perfect alignment. We've only got one Protect Shield. I'm going to call the opponent's going to force in the Shadow Ball. We correctly shield the Shadow Ball, and we should be sitting in a very good position from here. The opponent's only going to reach an Ice Punch or Night Slash, and either way, Hypno will be able to survive it. The opponent fire off the Ice Punch. We leave with the double Psyshock. The opponent lightly let go of one, as they know Sludge Bomb will do more damage. The opponent shields the first. We're going to go straight for the second one. The second one does go unshielded. It gets Clefable incredibly low. Even a Meteor Mash should be enough to knock me out from this range. Meteor Mash does knock me out. We're going to be able to tackle farm down, and I'm going to be able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle. Lead Shadow Giraffe into Dragalge. Our double kicks are going to be resisted, however these Psychic Fangs are going to hit for super effective. We throw 4 double kicks, throw on the CMP tie to the Aqua Tail. The first Psychic Fang goes unshielded and does around 40%. The next one will be knocking out, so again we're going to throw 4 double kicks, throw the Psychic Fang on the CMP tie and see what the opponent wants to do. Psychic Fangs coming through, force the Protect Shield, and at this stage we're just going to let Giraffe Rig go down. I'm hoping after lowering the opponent's defense by 2 stages, I can send in Hypno, get the Confusion farm down before they even reach an Aqua Tail. We get the perfect Confusion farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. The opponent sends in for Alligator, which isn't fantastic for us. We are going to be able to outpace to the Psyshock. Psyshock forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the opponent doesn't overfarm whatsoever. So we're just going to let Hypno go down and put it all in our Weezing, hopefully to clean up. We send in Weezing. I'm going to have to respect the incoming Hydro Cannon. A Shadow on Shadow, it will do a lot of damage. We shield up the Hydro Cannon. The opponent then pivots out into Lantern, and unfortunately I think Lantern just going to be a little bit too thick for our Weezing. We fire up the Sludge Bomb. You can see the second Sludge Bomb will be lethal. However, Thunderbolt will also probably knock us out. Thunderbolt coming through. The opponent actually throw the Surf, which is going to allow us to reach one further Sludge Bomb. But there's no point in throwing, as we need energy to throw at the Alligator, and unfortunately we're going to take a loss. So GG's to that opponent there. So heading into the final battle of today's showcase, we see Giraffe Rig into Venusaur. Shout out to Zarnik, who made Venusaur lead very popular. Again, we throw 4 double kicks, attempt to catch a Frenzy Plant onto Weezing, but the opponent hold their energy and then send out Mark. We're going to fire off the Sludge Bomb. Both moves are going to be resisted, but Sludge Bomb does get same type attack bonus. Again, very nice to bait this thing out, so Hypno isn't going to have to face it in the endgame. We did lose to a Muck earlier in the video, so it'd be very nice to get some redemption. We throw the next Sludge Bomb on what looks like to be a CMP tie, and this is best case scenario. Not only do we force a Protect Shield, we force the energy off the opponent. We now send back in Giraffe Rig. I'm going to throw the Trailblaze on the CMP tie. Trailblaze is resisted, but is going to be enough to secure the knockout, and we've now got a vamped up attack. I throw the Psychic Fang immediately, anticipating Venusaur coming back in, but the opponent actually sends out Obstagoon, but the opponent actually burns their final Protect Shield. These double kicks are double super effective and doing absurd damage. I've got a 2 to no shield advantage. We shield the next move up. The opponent actually then looked to snipe me, and we're going to save our final protect shield for Hypno. We can send in Hypno, we can easily tank one Frenzy Plant, we can shield the next, and we can get the Focus Blast ready for the returning Obstagoon. Hypno usually has a dreadful matchup into Obstagoon, and this is why we run that Hail Mary Focus Blast coverage. We do get the full Confusion farm down, we leave 1 Confusion, or actually 2, off the Focus Blast, but regardless, we outplay, and as Jamie Finn would say, get that Obstagoon out of here, and we're able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there.
So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.